Okay, and we're back, everybody. So today I'm going to be giving my player draft analysis for this season of the Pokemon World Series. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's a team tournament similar to DPL or Smogon Premier League. Basically, there are a bunch of captains. The captains draft players to be on their teams. These teams play against each other in the regular season. At the end of the regular season, the teams with the best records move on to playoffs. Then these teams in playoffs play against each other once again, and the winner of playoffs is the winner of the team tournament. Pretty simple concept. I'm sure most of you already know what it is, so I don't think I need to reiterate that much further. But yeah, a couple of quick things I need to get out of the way. One, I'm not going to know everybody in this team tournament, so if I skip over you, I don't mean any malice or ill intent. I just don't know you. I look forward to watching your games and getting to know you, so that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't mean to be rude or anything. I probably just don't know you, so I'll have to skip over some of you. Two, again, similar to number one. If I don't know you, I might mispronounce your name. Again, I don't mean to be rude or anything. It's just that if I don't know you, then I'm probably going to mispronounce your name in some fashion if it's a difficult name to say. But with that, I think we can just move right on to the first team. Captained by Jedon and Toxic. Now, this is a pretty solid cap core. Toxic has been doing very well recently. I think he's going to play pretty much every week, and he should go easily positive and maybe even like somewhere around a 70-75% win rate, so that'd be pretty solid. For the team, obviously the captain winning is going to motivate the rest of the team. As for Jedon, I think he's a pretty solid player too. He's on the average end, I would say. Like, he's not too great, he's not bad at all though, so he's pretty much average, right in the middle. I expect him to play a couple of weeks, just fill in and out over here, and I hope that Jedon will mostly be there to motivate the team and keep the server nice and cool and keep the activity up, so that'd be pretty cool if this cap core functions like that. But yeah, we can move on to the first pick, Sharky for 35.5k. Now this is obviously a great pickup. Sharky has a great team tour record, and I think even individual tournaments he's done pretty solid in. But mainly his team tournament records have been insane. Basically, he goes like undefeated in every single team tour, or if he does get like a couple losses, like 1 or 2, he gets like 5 wins, and yeah. He has a crazy win rate. He should be winning pretty much every week. He might get 1 or 2 losses here and there, but other than that, he's just winning. So, for 35.5k, he's probably the best player in the pool. Maybe he's tied for like Phil or TCMTL, but he's tied for first with 2 other players, but like easily 35.5k is definitely worth it. I think this is totally fine for Sharky. So next up we have Elgino for 8.5k. Now this is a guy I don't really know. I look forward to seeing his games and whatever, but I think I'll just have to skip over him because, like I said, I don't really know him, so I have no input to give on this guy. Next up we have Itzia for 7k. Now this is the grossest underpay of this entire tournament. Basically, Itzia said that he was just going to be a cheerleader, but now he decided, nope, I'm going to sweat and try hard. So they got try hard Itzia for 7k, which is crazy because he's actually worth like 25 to 30k. So yeah, very amazing pickup for Jedon and Toxic. Obviously, this is like an insane pickup now that Itzia's going to be trying. Like this saved him so much budget. But as you'll see, the next pickup, Undead for 30k, they blew all the budget they saved. Undead is the grossest overpay of this entire tournament, being that basically these 2 prices should have been switched. Undead should be 7k and Itzia should be 30k. I did say that Undead was trending upwards in my last player draft analysis for a different team tour, and I do think that's true, but he has fallen short of where I expected him to be. Most notably, recently, he has been destroyed by a Grottle, which is not something you would want for one of the players you said is good. Anyway, aside from that, I think he's a fine player. Hopefully he gets the right amount of team support to do well, and he's gonna win a couple of games here and there, I hope, and he should continue to trend upwards. And yeah, other than that, I guess we can move on to Starwolf for 14k. Now, Starwolf, I'm not too sure who this is. I've seen his name around in the Draft League community, so I know he exists, but I haven't seen too many games from him. I've seen a couple, and I think he's about average, so for 14k, I think a average player is okay. If he goes like 3-3 or 3-2, then this is super worth it. If he goes 2-3, then it's not ideal, but again, 2 wins for a 14k player might be okay. Depends on how many weeks he plays, I guess. If you play every week, then you want him to go like 3+ wins, right? So yeah, hopefully he gets that, and he'll be worth this price. Next up we have Robot Boy for 2... Sorry, I was reading his name. And I meant to say his price at the same time. So anyway, we have Robot Boy 2034, 5.5k. I've seen Robot Boy like once. I think I played him in an individual tournament, and I think he was supposed to beat me, but I think I like flinched him or Thunder Wave parried him or something, and then he lost. But I literally have a sample size of 1 on how many games I've seen of Robot Boy, and it's just that 1 against me. So I have no sample size to comment on Robot Boy, but I do think he played decently in the 1 game he played against me. So if that's any indication, then he should do fairly well. Again, for min bid, pretty much min bid anyway for 5.5k. You have nowhere to go but up, so I look forward to seeing your games. And that same sentiment can be shared for the last 3 players as well: Blitz, Agronauts, and Chess. For basically min bid, you have nowhere to go but up, so I look forward to seeing how these guys perform. And yeah, I don't think any of them will super disappoint. I know all of these players. Blitz, most notably, comes from the Apex server, I think, where he has a lot of his friends. He's been reaching out recently to like TDT and other individual tournaments, so that's cool. But yeah, Agronauts, I think he's an old head. He's been around for a while. I think he's been in the draft community for longer than I have, so that's pretty cool. And same with Chess. I think he's been around for a while as well. So I know all these players, but for basically min bid, you have nowhere to go but up. Hopefully they don't go like 0-5 if they play every week or something, and that would be somewhere to go but down. But you know, if you get 1 or 2 wins, then that's enough. But yeah, I think that concludes the Mafia. The next team up is the Aura Wheelchairs, captained by Ollie and Jesse504. Now, I don't really know much about Jesse504, but I do know his co-cap, Ollie, whom I believe captained his team to playoffs in KHDPL. So that shows a decent track record of being able to manage and run a team. So that's pretty solid already. And on top of that, I know that Ollie is actually a pretty solid player as well. I haven't really been disappointed from any of his games, so presumably he plays almost every week, if not every week. Like I said, I don't really know much about Jesse, but if Ollie trusts Jesse to be his co-cap, then I trust Jesse will at least be active and help out the team in any fashion possible. So their first pickup was TCMTL for 34k. Now this is a player that I said is probably tied for first. First meaning that they are the best player in the pool, tied for it with Sharky or Phil. But yeah, they got TC for 34k. Nothing to be said here. He's just one of the best players in this pool, if not the best. He's probably tied for first or something. But yeah, he should be wins pretty much every week. I don't really have anything to say other than he should just be winning his games every time, like literally every time. I don't see a week where he loses. So yeah, we can just move on to Phil. And the same thing, I know I'm gonna repeat myself here, but literally Phil is tied for first place. So this team is looking to be very, very scary already, just from the cap core plus TC plus Phil. This is an insane team already. If all of them put in the effort, then Ollie, TC, and Phil should all just be guaranteed wins. Ollie might get a couple losses here and there because I don't quite think he's at the level of TC or Phil, but TC and Phil are just locked in wins pretty much every week, provided they put in the effort. But you know, they're cool dudes, and I assume they're gonna put in the effort. So yeah, Phil, TC, solid players. Their prices reflect that, and yeah, they should perform accordingly and win pretty much every week. Next up, they got Benny for 15.5. I believe this is Benny the Bull. If it's not, then I don't know him, and I'm sorry if I just start talking about Benny the Bull, because that's the only Benny in the community that I know. But Benny the Bull is pretty solid. He has had some really good performances from what I remember, so 15.5k seems pretty solid for this. And this team is already shaping up to be a real big threat. So yeah, this is a good team already, dude. This is insane. The top 5, including the captains, of course, are pretty solid. But the problem is the last 5, except for the answer. I do know the answer. He's Brett, of course. I've teamed with Brett. He's a cool dude. If you give him the right support, he can win. If you don't give him the right support, I don't think he'll perform. But with TC, Phil, Ollie, Jesse, I think he'll get all the support he needs. So yeah, Brett is probably going to do fine. 5.5k is a fine price. Obviously, he hasn't been performing too well recently. That's why his price isn't reflective of like a quote-unquote really good player or anything. But you know, he should perform well provided he gets the right support. Anyway, we skipped over Rampage and Leaf, and that's because I don't really know either of them. Yeah, I just don't have enough information to give a like knowledgeable opinion on either of these players. Obviously, the captains trust them enough for them to get drafted onto this team, so hopefully they can perform well. If not, they'll provide help towards the team in other ways, such as mocks or prep help or whatever. And then the last 2, again, I don't know much about them. Lackiness and Morningstar, sorry, I just don't know anything about these guys. It's again, nothing personal, like I said before, but it's just these guys are kind of new to the greater draft community, I believe. Like, obviously, I'm sure they're part of a draft league or something that the captains know of, or something like that, but they haven't been known well in the greater draft community, like TDT or DPL Clash Kings or anything crazy like that. So with that, I think that concludes the Aura wheelchairs. Overall, a pretty solid team. Their top is very, very good, but their bottom half isn't ideal, I would say. So that kind of averages out. They're gonna need 4 wins every week, so I guess they should be able to pull that with Ollie, TC, Phil, and Benny, but if one of them loses here or there, then it's going to be a struggle to get the last win, I think, so we'll see. But overall, pretty solid team. They're going to have 4 almost guaranteed wins every week, so that's always solid. Yeah. Next up, we have the Spanish Inquisition, captained by Acor and Noe Metagross, or Noe Metagross. I don't know how to say it. I've said his name 20 times already, but I don't know how to say it yet. I shouldn't just make sure and ask one of these days. But yeah, Acor and Noe Metagross, these are the Spanish dudes. As you can probably tell by the name, the Spanish Inquisition. They got Slick Panther for... Oh, sorry, I should have go over their playing ability first, right? Yeah, okay, so Acor, pretty solid. He's not bad by any means. I think he's slightly above average, so he should play almost every week, I believe, unless he has some real life commitments or something. But I think he should be playing every week. He should win more than an average player. So if he plays, let's say 5 weeks, he should win 3 of the 5, maybe 4 if he's really putting in the effort, or if he has improved more than I imagined, then he might get 4 out of 5 wins or something. But fairly solid player. Same with Noah Metagross. I think he should be playing every week as well. Basically another 3 wins probably if he plays 5 weeks. So slightly above average, and yeah, pretty solid there. Their first pickup is Slick Panther for 23.5k. This is a pretty solid pickup. I think Slick is it's just a good player all around. Obviously, he has had some really awesome performances recently, so this price reflects that. He's done pretty damn good in almost everything that I've seen him in. He has had some lackluster performances from some tournaments, individual tournaments, I believe, but nothing too insanely bad. So 23.5k for Slick Panther, pretty good price. He should be playing every week as well. So yeah, this team is pretty solid so far. So yeah, we can move on to Taquito for 24k. Now, obviously, everyone knows Taquito as the LC god, but there's unfortunately no LC in this tournament. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how well he performs. Obviously, I believe that if you have skill in some capacity in any tier, if you put in enough effort, you will be able to transfer some semblance of that skill into any other tier. So if he puts in the effort, I believe he should do just fine. And 24k, obviously, the captains have faith that he will do just fine. And yeah, another probably just starting player to the lineup, so that's pretty cool. Next up, we have our Maxa for 14.5k. Pretty solid player, once again. He's about average. I think if he plays 4 weeks, he'll go 2-2. So for 14.5k, I think that's about fine. If you get an average player winning two games, then that's good enough, honestly. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I've seen some good things, I've seen some bad things, so I have mixed opinions. Not in the sense that he's bad, because he's not. He's just fine. So I just don't want to say he's good or bad, because he's just strictly right on the dot average, so that's pretty solid. But like I said, for 14.5k, that's what you want for a player. Yeah, and yeah, hopefully that translates. Hopefully he doesn't do worse than I expected. That would be bad for me and him, because obviously he doesn't want to lose, and it would look bad on me if I'm saying he's an average player and he is below average. On the other hand, if he does above average, then he'll also make me look bad. So hopefully, actually, you know what, I hope you do above average, dude. You're cool. He's a cool dude, so you know what, he should do above average. Anyway, if I'm strictly speaking on what I think he'll do based on previous experiences, I think he'll go 2 wins, 2 losses, and then if he plays playoffs, he might get another win and another loss or something. So yeah, that's my prediction. Anyway, next we have Street Cred Cookie for 15k. Now, I don't really know this guy at all. Yeah, for 15k though, you would expect him to be good, so hopefully the captains know what they're doing here, because I don't know this guy one bit. I don't think I've even seen a single replay from him, so I'll be looking forward to seeing what he puts out, but yeah. For now, I'll just have to skip over him. So then next player up is Hydra for 20k. Now I do know Hydra. I've seen a lot of his replays, and the overwhelming majority of them are good. Now I don't know if that's only because the replays I've seen are mostly picked by him, like the ones that he sends, but like they're pretty good. Like even if a player handpicks only wins or something, which I have seen Hydra's losses too, but assuming a player only handpicks wins, you still see how they play, and sometimes you're like, okay, this guy didn't play too well, he just got lucky, or his opponent just choked or something. But Hydra has been like playing consistently well in all of the replays that I've seen him play in. So, you know, for 20k, I expect this might be a little bit of an underpay, honestly. I think he could have gone for 25k. Like, realistically, he's a really good player. He should be winning 4 out of 5 weeks, if not just the whole 5, so that'd be cool. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on Hydra. So next up we have Boot for 11.5k. Now Boot, I am the biggest fan of course. Everyone knows I have a huge crush on Boot, but recently he hasn't been too hot. As you may recall, I have a video on my channel called the worst draft league game that I've ever seen played, and Boot is a part of it. So he is one half of the worst draft league game ever played. So that doesn't bode too well for Boot, but I think with the right support, Boot will be able to win more than he loses, and that's always good in a player. That's what I looked for when I was playing with Boot. I just wanted him to win more than he lost, and most of the time he can deliver that, so that's good. For 11.5k, if he can deliver more wins than he loses, or even just an average record, that'd be great. Next up they have Witchin for 6k. I don't know this guy, like, at all, sorry. Yeah, I just don't know. But for min bid, you know where to go but up. Or basically min bid. 6k is basically min bid, right? So nowhere to go but up. And yeah, I look forward to seeing his games. But yeah, next up we have Wigglytuff for 5k, min bid. So he has nowhere to go but up. But I do know a little bit about him. I've seen a couple of his replays. I've seen his name around in the community, and it's memorable because it's literally a Pokemon. So that's cool. But yeah, he's a decent player. I don't know if he'll be starting most weeks or not, but hopefully he'll be active in the server and he'll provide help. And if he starts, I hope he gets a couple wins. But realistically, I think he shouldn't be starting too often. And if he does, he should do probably maybe average. The captains drafted him for a reason, so they have faith in him. So, you know, he should hopefully perform according to what the captains expect. And yeah, that's all I have to say on the Spanish Inquisition. Okay, so the next team up is the Ghostface Killers, captained by Hacker Killer and Bagel Ghost. Now, Hacker Killer has been consistently improving as of recent. All the games that I've been seeing from him recently, he's just been misplaying less and less, which is always good because it shows player improvement over a course of time, which is always nice in a captain. He's also been super active, which again is super nice in a captain. As for his co-cap, Bagel Ghost, I want to say he's kind of inconsistent because I've seen some good things, but I've also seen some very, very bad games from him as well. That being said, his activity is also super up there, which is nice because if that's the way their team is structured, with Hacker Killer going to be playing pretty much every week and Bagel Ghost providing tremendous team support, then I think that's a totally fine structure that they can have going on. Their first pickup is Miso for 28.5k. Now Miso is a really good league format player, like regular 12-mon or 11-mon leagues. He's done exceedingly well in a lot of them. So this price would reflect that. However, the one team tour experience that I recall from him, that I have with him is Cage DPL, where he was not performing up to par to his skill in regular league formats. I think the 8-mon format is a little bit different, and Miso wasn't able to fully adapt to it, so his performance was not ideal. That being said, if he was able to use Cage DPL as a stepping stone in order to gain experience in the team tournament format, then I think this price is totally fine. And if he's able to perform up to par, then yeah, this is a really good pickup there, and this team's pretty solid already, honestly. Just with Hacker and Miso being able to probably win a lot of the games, while Bagel Ghost provides really awesome team support. Next up, they have Almighty Panda for 90k. Now I think this is a totally fine pickup as well. For 20k, Almighty Panda is a good player. He should go above average win rate, and he's really active too, so he'll be there to help out with mocks and prep help and whatever else the team needs, which is awesome. Speaking of mocks, prep help, and whatever the team needs, their next player up is Killer Ashi for 20.5k. Now, Killer is awesome because he literally sweats so hard. He is like a mini Kaz, okay? He will do anything for the team possible in order to ensure victory. This is a totally fine price. I would pay 20k just to have Killer just like not play. Like I would just have him. Okay, that sounded weird. I don't mean he shouldn't play. I mean that I would pay 20 Killer just for his team support part, and him playing probably adds another like 5 to 10k because he's a solid player as well. He's not bad by any means. So I think this was an underpay. Honestly, I would have paid like 25k for Killer because his team support is so like unparalleled. It's insane. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say, like other than he's gonna just, if he's active to the level that I've come to know from Killer, then yeah, this guy's gonna prep help, mock, anything and everything that the team needs, he will do. So yeah, totally good pickup there. And yeah, we can move on to Almighty Shy Guy for 10k. Now Almighty Shy Guy, I'm a little torn on because I'm not too sure how good he's been performing recently. I have seen some good things from a while ago, but then recently I've seen some not so great replays where he's kind of misplaying a lot, or he's just getting outplayed. And obviously he might just be in a little bit of a lump, and if he's able to get through it, then I think this is a totally fine pickup. So I'm a little afraid on the inconsistency level from Almighty Shy Guy, but if he can get through it, then I think this is a fine pickup. Next up, they have Piranha Plant for 8k. I don't know this guy. Actually, I'm going to lump in Piranha Plant, Metro, and Raj. Actually, I'm going to lump in Piranha Plant, Metro, Raj, Ducksuck, and White Lotus 5. I don't know any of these dudes. I think I've seen Piranha Plant's name across the community a little bit, but the other 4 I just don't know anything about, so I think I'm going to have to skip over them, unfortunately. I know that's a lot of the teams to skip over, but I assume if either Hacker Killer or Bagel Ghost knows all 5 of these players, then yeah, I think that's probably fine, just because, like, you know, if you're friends with the captain or if your captains can vouch for you, then there's a reason you got drafted. So this should be fine pickups. They're all pretty much min bids as well, so they have nowhere to go but up, really. Hopefully they can go positive. That'd be cool for them. They get some name recognition as well, which is awesome for any player. Yeah. With that, their last player is Fate, whom I do know a little bit. I've seen him play quite a bit, honestly. He's just been in a lot of individual tours with me, and I think he's pretty active too, so that's like pretty cool. Like from the individual tournaments that I've seen him play in, he hasn't been bad, like almost ever. Like he's been pretty much average. So for 5k, getting an average player is pretty solid. Like if you go 2-2 for 5k, that's a really solid record IMO. Yeah. So I think that concludes the Ghostface Killers. The next team up is the Simps, captained by the Canadian Kid and Cheez-Its. Now, both these players are pretty good, in my opinion. Honestly, I haven't seen too many bad things from either of them. Canadian Kid has been crushing it recently in OLT, which is awesome. And Cheez-Its, I have literally not seen a bad performance. I have seen, not to say that I've seen like him do exceedingly well in anything either, but I think he's done like consistently above average in most of the replays that I've seen from him. So I think these two players are pretty like solid, honestly. I think this is on the higher end of the cap cores in this team tour. So yeah, I'm super glad that I was drafted on this team. Speaking of which, their first player is me, but I'm gonna skip over myself because no one wants to hear me talk about myself. That's stupid and kind of weird too. So yeah, anyway, the other first pickup, if you were to discount me, is Pichu Bros for 30.5k, and I think this price is totally fine. Pichu Bros is not dropping a game. I think he's a DPL level player. He can do like average to above average in DPL, I think, if you put in the effort. So I literally just don't see him dropping a game in this team tournament. So, you know, like honestly, I'm super glad we got him on our team because it just means that he's pretty much locking up a win every week for our team, which is awesome. Next up, we have Clone for 12.5k. Now, I rate Clone pretty highly. I think he's one of the better players in this player pool. I don't know how he went for 12.5k. I know some people have a little bit of a doubt in terms of his consistency, and while I do think that's fair, he has had some not so great performances. I think more often than not, if he's given the right support, he performs like exceedingly well. So provided that we give him that support, I think Clone will do super well, and I'm super glad to have Clone on the team as well. I don't really think he'll be losing too many games, provided that, like I said, we give him the correct support. And he's been super active too, so, you know, that bodes well. But yeah, we can move to Eagle Gene for 10k. Now, I don't know too much about Eagle Gene. All I know is that our captains are friends with Eagle Gene, so yeah, that's all I know. Like I said before, if I don't know you, I think I'm just gonna have to skip over you. I look forward to getting to know him. He's on my team, so should be fun to see how he plays, and just to get to know him better. So that's cool. We have Pesky for 9.5k. Now, I think this is a stupidly like gross underpay. Obviously, Pesky's like worth 20k provided that he is active and he puts in the effort to play to his expected level, which if he does, then I think we got a crazy good underpay here for Pesky for 9.5k. Like, that's insane. Like I said, if we can get him to stay motivated and play all of his games and perform up to the level that we know he can perform, then I think he should be winning pretty much every game as well, so that's awesome. High C's I've seen in a lot of individual tournaments where he performs pretty much average, which is great for 5k. If you can go 2-2, that's pretty solid, honestly. Like, yeah, if you're an average player for 5k and you can provide 2 wins for the team, that's awesome. For Jolie, Ags, and Alpha Boy, I don't know too much about any of them. Realistically, I think they're probably average. Like, obviously the captains drafted them, so hopefully they drafted average players at the very least. So just because I don't have a baseline knowledge of either of these players, I think I'm just going to assume that they're average, and yeah, I look forward to seeing their games and getting to know them better as well. But yeah, that concludes the Saint Simps. Next up, we have the Sip Special, captained by X, Luke, and Peyton. Now, I don't know much about Peyton at all. I don't think I've even seen a single game from Peyton, so I really don't have any opinion on Peyton. But as for X, Luke, I have seen his name around the community. I've seen a couple of his games, and I think he's about average. I think he'll be a pretty decent fill-in player, so he'll be able to fill in to make sure that he's able to play all the other players on his team in the best tier that they can in order to pull the most amount of wins effectively. Because X-Luke should be able to probably play in any tier as a captain and just, allow the star players in every gen to stick to their gens so that there's no issues in creating the lineups. But like I said, I think X-Luke is a pretty average player. He should be able to go 2-2, maybe 3-2, depending on how much effort he puts in or how well he plays or whatever. But yeah, like I said, as for Peyton, I just don't know them. So I look forward to seeing if they play and how well they do. But, other than that, I think we can just move on right to their first pickup in Mia. So Mia has been trending upwards, I think. Recently, they've been doing pretty well. So I think that's always good. Player improvement over a course of time just shows that they're willing to put in effort and get better consistently. So that's always solid. Provided that Mia stays active, then I think they're going to be pulling mostly wins. I think they might drop a game or two, but honestly, that's fine. I think Mia should be able to pull mostly wins, and yeah. I think we can move on to Ice Team and Gray for 23k. Now, I know that Ice Team and Gray has a little bit of a bad rep for not being active at all, but honestly, I don't think that's that big of an issue, provided that the rest of the team server stays pretty active. As long as you give Ice Team and Gray the correct support, I think he should be able to win pretty much every week. I don't see him dropping a game, provided that he tries. So, if you're able to motivate him to play his games and you can give him mocks or whatever else he needs, then I think he should be just pulling wins, and activity really doesn't matter if you're going 5-0, I think. So, I think that's totally fine. Next up we have Adam for 16.5k. Now, Adam is most well known for being a pretty good player in ORAS. So, luckily there is an ORAS tier in this tournament. So, if he does end up playing ORAS mostly, and he's able to pull the numbers that we're used to seeing him pull, then I think that's a fine pickup for 16.5k. He should easily go positive, if not very above average in terms of wins. So I think, like I said, if he's able to pull the numbers that we're used to seeing him pull in ORAS, then I think there's a fine pickup, and maybe even a little bit of an underpay for 16.5. You're pretty much almost guaranteeing 4 wins in ORAS, so that's cool. Next up we have Achroma for 12k. Now, I don't know too much about Achroma. I have seen a couple of their replays, and I think they're about average. I don't really have much else to say other than they should be able to go 2-2. Maybe they might go 3-2, provided that they get the correct amount of prep help and mocks and support from the team in order to do so, and they put in the required effort. But yeah, next up we have Devin for 12.5k. Now, Devin is a Smogon turned draft player, which is pretty cool. He's one of the first, I think, which is always nice to know, I guess. Yeah, he's one of the first to convert from Smogon to draft, or not convert, meaning he doesn't play Smogon anymore. I'm not sure if he does or not, but I know that he used to play quite a bit of Smogon formats, and now he's just transitioned over to draft to play draft a little bit more. So that's cool. His performances have been pretty decent, I want to say. I think he played in TDT or some individual tournaments, and he's been pretty decent, honestly. So again, I think for 12.5k, an average player is fine. But yeah, next up we have okay, you know what? I'm actually going to group in Moist, Blake Trout, Draco, and Napi all in the same group, because I don't know any of them. Literally all of them went for pretty much main bid, except for Draco, but I'm not sure. That's less than 10k still, so all of them are just min bid, so they have really nowhere to go but up, and I just don't know much about them, so I'm gonna have to skip over them, unfortunately. And that's quite a bit to skip over, but yeah, I just don't know much about any of those guys. I look forward to seeing them play and seeing how it works out, seeing how they work out in the in the team tour. Yep. So the last pickup is Salabgo for 5k. Now, I want to say he's kind of inconsistent, just because in BOB he was not doing well at all, and then sometimes I see some replays and he's like, okay, he's actually pretty decent. So he's pretty inconsistent from what I've seen. Hopefully he can be on the other end of the, the good versus bad spectrum in this team tournament and provide some wins for his team instead of going like 0-4 or whatever. But yeah, other than that, I don't have much else to say on Salabgo. And yeah, that's it for the SIP special. So I think we can move on to Divine Discharge, with the captains being Jolts and Zero. Now I've seen Jolt's name somewhere, I just don't remember from where, so I don't have too much information on his games or how he plays or anything like that, so I think I'm gonna have to skip over Jolt's, but I have seen his name somewhere, so I don't know where from, but I'm sure I've seen his name somewhere. But yeah, the next captain on Divine Discharge is Zero. I've known Zero for quite a bit now, and he's pretty like big brain in real life, dude. He's like an astrophysicist or something, so he's got the big brain. And anyone who has a big brain in real life better be crushing it at Mons, or else what the hell are you doing, right? But yeah, for real, I've seen a couple of his games, and he knows how to not misplay, which is always good. Like from all the games that I've seen, he just kind of plays fairly safe, and he doesn't misplay, which is good, because if you misplay less than your opponent, you're probably going to be winning more games than you lose. So yeah, he should be winning more games than he loses, so hopefully he goes 3-2, maybe 4-1, depending on how much effort he puts in. And yeah, I think that's about all I can say about Zero. Like, he's a pretty solid player. I think he just knows how to not misplay, which is a really good skill, honestly. But yeah, their first pickup is Dawn for 32k. Now, Dawn has been killing it recently. He's probably going to be playing SS every week and pretty much winning every single week as well. I don't see him dropping a game in the Sword and Shield format. So yeah, this is going to be like insane free wins for this team, and that's why his price is so high, and I think this is a fine pickup for 32k. Next up, they have Ducky for 6k. I don't know who this guy is. I'm actually going to lump in Ducky and Jockin. I just don't know who either of these guys are. For basically min-bid though, they should be having nowhere to go but up, so hopefully they can either provide really good team support, or they can pull a couple wins here and there whenever they play. Next up, they have Avent for 20k. Now, I don't know too much about Avent, but I do know that he's a VGC player, and that's why his price is pretty high comparatively to the rest of the team, because they probably want to lock in a guaranteed VGC win every week. Yeah, so if they're able to do that with Avent, and Avent is able to give them a guaranteed win every week, then this is a crazy good pickup for 20k. If he falters and then he's like going averaging VGC, then there's probably a little bit of an overpay, because it is only one game a week, so I'm not too sure how important the guaranteed win in that is. It is important if you can get a guaranteed win, but if you're kind of like wishy-washy on it, then I wouldn't spend too much on any player for a single game a week. But if Avent is truly like the VGC god, then I think it's a fine pickup. I just don't know anything about VGC, so I can't really comment on how good Avent is, or if he's bad, or if he's the greatest, or whatever. But yeah, I look forward to seeing some VGC games though, and it should be fun watching him. Next they have Karma for 11k. I've known Karma for a little bit, honestly. Like, I don't want to say known, like we're not friends or anything, but I've seen him around the community for quite a while, and I think I've played him a couple times too, and I've never been super disappointed. So I think he's probably slightly average to maybe a little bit above average. Yeah, he should probably go like 2-2 to 3-2, depending on how much effort he puts in and how much support he receives. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, next up they have Jeff for 50.5k. I don't know too much about Jeff at all. Honestly, I think I've seen his name around the community quite a bit though. More recently than not. Like, he's just been more active recently than he has in the past, I think, or it's just because I'm home more right now and I've just had more time to be going through the community and seeing all the new people. But yeah, I don't know too much about his playing ability or anything, so for 15.5k I expect that the captains know him and they trust him to pull some wins, so hopefully he can go 3-2, maybe 2-2 is fine as well for 15k. But yeah, I don't really have too much information on Jeff. As for the last four players, I don't know any of them. Vale, Darth Yoshi, and Haunch, they all went for min bids, so nowhere to go but up basically. And yeah, I look forward to seeing their games, or how they are in the community. And yeah, as for Luffy for 12k, I don't know him either, but for 12k I would expect that the captains either know him, or they trust him enough to pay that above 10k price, because if you're spending more than 10k on a player, you either have to be kind of friends with him, or you have to expect him to be pulling wins. So hopefully he's able to do that for the team. And yeah, I look forward to seeing his games as well. Yeah, I think that concludes the Divine Discharge. Alright, so next up is the Bakery, captained by Techno and Bagel John. Now, both these players are pretty average, I want to say. Obviously, they do have the outlier games where they sometimes look like they're pretty bad, but they also have these outlier games where I'm thinking, wow, they're really, really good. So I think overall, they're pretty average, where they should be able to win pretty much just as much as they lose. And if they really, really put in the effort, then I think they can win more than they lose. So that'd be pretty cool. The bigger upside to this Cap Corps is that they're active like all the time. Like 24/7, at least one of these captains will be available to help out with any of their players' requests. So that's a huge, huge fundamental thing that a Cap Corps should be able to provide for their players. Speaking of their players, I guess that we can just move right into it with their first pickup being Will for 20.5k. Now, Will, I think he's pretty consistent in the sense that he always wins more than he loses. Now, I'm not sure if the margin is quite at the level where you would want to pay 20k for him, maybe like 18k, 17k, but honestly in this player pool I think 20k is probably fine. He's consistent enough where he'll win more than he loses, like almost certainly. Like he should go 3-2 at the very worst. He could go 4-6 or like, sorry, 4-6 was pretty bad, 4-2 or like 5-1 or something like that. So I think for 20.5k is a fine pickup. Next up they have Luxance for 24k. Now I've seen Luxance's games, like quite a lot of them, and I've never been like disappointed. So I think 24k might be a slight overpay. Again, I think they could have maybe paid for like 20k or like 21k or somewhere around that range. So they paid a little bit more than they needed to, I think. But again, in this player pool, maybe that's fine. And like I said, Luxance has never disappointed me. So you know, I think for 24k, a player that won't disappoint you and will win more times than he loses is fine. Yeah, I think he could go like 4-2, or he really has the potential to go 5-1 if the support is there, which with this Cap Corps I think it definitely will be. Next up they have ASDF for 18k. Now this guy is a player I rate pretty highly. I think for 18k this guy's fine. I think he's going to be winning way more than he loses. I honestly don't know if I see him dropping more than 2 games in the entire season. So that's like really solid. Like this guy's good. I don't really know what else to say other than he's a good player. So, you know, I expect him to win way more than he loses, and I don't see him dropping more than 2 games. So for 18k, I think this is a pretty big steal, honestly. Next up they have Weavile. Wait, no, what? Oh, Weavily? Okay, I've heard this name before. I think this is like Will's friend or something, but I just don't know anything about them. I think this is Will's friend, right? Weavily? I think so. I think I've seen his name somewhere. Maybe in the EMBA league or something. I have no idea. I swear I have seen the name before, but I think this is Will's friend. If I'm wrong, then sorry, buddy. But I think I'm going to have to skip over you. But for 12k, I think, you know, hopefully you'll be able to perform according to your price and go at least average win rate. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, we'll have to skip over you. And same thing with ASZ. Okay, what are these names, bro? They're like so odd. Yeah, for 7k, basically Minbit. I don't know this guy, so you know, hopefully he has nowhere to go but up, and he can win a couple games if he plays. I don't know if they're gonna play them or not. I just have no information about these guys. So we're just gonna move right on to Marco, also known as Moran Veron. He's actually really good, so this is a crazy steal. I think Moran Veron is actually not dropping a game this season. He has taken a little bit of a break from mods, I think. He hasn't played for like a month or so, or anything super competitive in a month, I think. So, you know, it might be a little bit of an issue for the first few weeks where he needs to, like, you know, come back and regain the knowledge of how to play the game or something. But honestly, a month break isn't that big of a deal. I think he'll be fine to regain that knowledge fairly quickly. So honestly, I don't see this guy dropping a game. Like literally, I think he's probably one of the best players in the pool. He's probably like in the top 10 for sure. So for 18k, this is insane. I don't know how this happened, but yeah, very good pickup by the Bakery to get Moran for 18k. Next up, they have Zooch. Actually, you know, I'm gonna group in Zooch, Zangoose, and Hater Ali. I don't know any of these guys. Oh wait, no, Zooch is the meme, the picture, Zooch face or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. It's on Discord. Is that? I don't know. It's Zooch. Yeah, I swear it's that guy, right? It has to be that guy. Anyway, yeah, that's all I know about Zooch. Zane Goose, I don't believe he has an emote, so nothing to say there. Same with Hater Ali, no emotes or nothing to say. But yeah, Zooch, Zane Goose, and Hater Ali, I just don't know much about them. I don't think I've seen too many of their games, if any of them at all. So yeah, I'll have to skip over them. Guys, their last pickup for 5k. Now, Guys is pretty cool. I think he's been actually improving fairly consistently. So for 5k, this might be a little bit of a steal. I think this is a dark horse pickup. I think he could be playing most weeks, and I think he could be picking up the surprise wins. Yeah, I've seen more of his recent games, and he hasn't been too bad. Honestly, if you were to compare his games now to maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I think he's drastically improved. So if he continues on that path and he brings his newfound skill to the team, then I think he could be winning a lot of games. So should be cool to watch this guy. But yeah, I think with that we can move on to the Scorbunny Syndicate, captained by Yeezy and Snomby. Now for this cap core, I don't know too much about Yeezy, and I don't know how active he is either. I'm just not too familiar with him. I know he's been in the community for a while now. I think I've seen his name around since last TDT at the very least. So he definitely has team tour experience, which is always good. I just don't know how well he plays or how active he is or anything. So I'll have to skip over him, but I'm very interested to see how well he's able to captain a team. I think this might be his first time captaining a team, so it'll be very cool to see that. As for Snomby, I think he's a really solid player. I think if he was in the player pool, he'd be easily top 10. So I think he should be playing pretty much every week, and he should be winning most of those easily. So I think that's fine. Yeah, again, I don't know how active he'll be, but if he's playing every week and winning pretty much every week, then I think that's fine, even if you're not too active, if Yeezy is able to keep up the activity in the server. Okay, so the first pickup is Big Daddy Dave for 20k. I think this is fine. I know he's a pretty solid player. I know he's pretty active. So activity plus pretty solid play is worth 20k, I think. Yeah, if he's there to support his team and he can pick up wins along the way, then dude, this is totally fine. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I've just seen a couple of his games. He's never been bad in any of them. So solid player. I think he should be a fine addition to this team for 20k. Next up, they got Amo for 22.5k. Now, Amo is the big French player. He always has some crazy sets that he brings, and they always do work, dude. I don't know what it is, but he just knows what sets will work, even if they look so insane on paper. So good on this guy. He's a super good builder. So for 22.5k, I think if he's able to help out his teammates build as well, then I think this is a fine pickup, dude. Honestly, I don't see an issue with Amo. I know he's a good player too, so I think this is the right price for Amo. So yeah, I don't know much else to say there because Amo is just solid all around. Next up, they got King Clyde for 21.5k. Recently has come back to the Draft League community, and he's been pretty solid. Everyone thought he might be a little bit washed, but I think he's broken out of his re-entry stage, and now he's just good again. So I think for 21k, he's totally okay. He should be fine to just win most of his games. I think he maybe drops 1 or 2 games, so other than that, I think he'll be crushing everyone else. So should be solid for 21.5k. All these players are just solid, dude. I don't have any complaints about any of them. Next up, they got Keith Sheldon for 15.5k. Now, this is a high price, but I don't know anything about this dude. I've never seen any of his games, and I just, I've never seen him in the greater draft community either. So maybe he's friends with the captains, or he's part of a smaller community that the captains know of or something. But yeah, for 15.5k, you would expect him to go above average win rate. So hopefully he's able to provide that, but I just don't know this guy, so I'll have to skip over him. And yeah, I look forward to seeing his games and learning how he plays and all that good stuff. Next up, they got Tails for 12.5k. Now, Tails is a pretty solid player. I think he's somewhat inconsistent in the sense that sometimes he just does insane and sometimes he just does kind of poorly. But for 12.5k, if you average that out and he goes about 2-2 or 3-2 with the right help, then I think this is fine. And of course, you always have the potential of a 4-1 or 4-2 or 5-3 Tails as well. So that's a pretty solid record, honestly. But yeah, I don't have much else to say on Tails other than on average he should be winning just as much as he loses, or a slight bit more in terms of winning than losing. So other than that, I guess we can move on to Lugia for 12k. Now, I don't know too much about Lugia either. I have recognized this name though, just mainly because it's a Pokemon. Much like Wigglytuff, Pokemon names are fairly recognizable, so I do remember seeing some of his replays from somewhere. In those replays, I wasn't super impressed. Not to say that he was bad or anything, it just seemed like kind of average plays here and there, where like you would expect some plays to be made that aren't the plays that he made. Like sometimes he made just suboptimal plays is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Basically he's okay. Like, I think for 12k again, hopefully he does average, and I think he should be fine. Just in some of the replays I've seen, he makes some suboptimal plays, but honestly I think every newer player kind of makes suboptimal plays when they start out, and it was kind of a while ago, so maybe he was just starting out, and hopefully he's gotten better than that. But yeah, for 12k, I think, hopefully he's able to at least help out his team, or if he's just gotten better, then he can pick up the wins necessary for his team as well, and that'd be pretty cool. Next up, they got Matrix for 5k. I don't know too much about Matrix. I have seen him around the community quite a bit, though. Like, I've seen a bunch of his replays just out of nowhere. I don't know where from, maybe from TDT player info or like other individual tournaments or something, but yeah, I've seen a couple of his replays, and I think he's a fine player, honestly. I think he's about average, and for 5k, getting an average player, if he's able to help out the team or pick up the 1 or 2 wins that help you win out a week, then, fine pickup there. As for mid Pokemaster and Panda, I think the same thing as Matrix applies, where they're pretty solid. I think on average, they should be able to win just about as much as they lose. So for 5k, that's a pretty good pickup for both of these guys. Again, I'm not too sure how active they are, just because I'm not too familiar with them as people, but hopefully they're pretty active and they can help out the team as well. But yeah, for Minbid, you have really nowhere to go but up, and like I said, I think all of these players have the capacity to at least win as much as they lose, so that's always decent for Minbid. And yeah, I think that concludes the Scorbunny Syndicate. The final team up is Menace to Society, captained by Insanity and Habuda. Now, both these players are really good. I think this is easily the best cap core in terms of playing ability. If they were in the player pool, they'd easily be top 50, maybe even top 10. So yeah, these guys are like extremely good, dude. This is a crazy good cap core in terms of playing ability. One thing to note though is that they're not known for being super active, which is a little bit of a detriment, because as a cap core, you want to be there, present and active in order to help out with the requests of your team. But hopefully they are able to be fairly active and provide the support necessary to run a functioning team. Their first pickup is Halu for 25k. Now this is a really good pickup. I don't know how he went for 25k. I think Halu's easily worth 35 to 40k. So yeah, this guy's easily top 5 in the player pool. So I don't know how this happened for only 25k. He should be winning every single game, maybe dropping 1 game, maybe 2 max. So yeah, and he's super active, it looks like, too. So this is a crazy pickup for 25k. This is insane. So yeah, very good pickup there. Next up, they have Gray for 15.5k. Now I've seen Gray around quite a bit. I know that he's a really solid player. His activity level, I don't know how active he is, but Gray's a really solid player, dude. I love his play. Like he's probably worth 20k just on his playability. So this is another crazy steal. Like Gray's a really solid player, dude. So yeah, this guy's awesome. Next up, they got Mamsalot for 16k. I don't know who this is, but for 16k, hopefully they'll be able to perform well, because for 16k, you really want a solid player, and like you want them to go at least 3-2, but you would ideally want them to go like 4-1. So hopefully he's able to provide that. Obviously, the captains drafted him, so they trust him. So that's always a good sign. Again, next up, Pinorska. I don't know this guy either, unfortunately. For 13k, hopefully he's able to perform average. Like, if he's able to go 2-2 or if he's able to go 3-2, then that's fine. Again, the captains drafted him, so they obviously have trust in him, so hopefully he's able to provide whatever the captains want from him. Next up, they have Keckmeister for 11k. Now, Keckmeister's been in the community for a little bit. I've seen a couple of his games, and I've run into him on the ladder a couple times too. He's a fine player. I think he's about average, and for 11k, that's what you want. If he goes 2-2 or... yeah, if he goes 2-2 is probably what I'd expect from him, then I think that's fine for 11k. Get those couple of wins that you need in order to win out a week or something, so that's always cool. Yeah. Next up, we have Gregulator for 10.5k. Now, this is a crazy steal. He's a DPL level player, so for 10.5k, I don't know how this happened, but I think they might be banking on the fact that Greg might not be super active. And if he's not super active, then yeah, it's fine. But if he plays 1 game and just gets that win, then yeah, solid pickup there. Like, Greg should be able to win the 1 or 2 games that he plays. And if he is super active for some reason, then this is a crazy pickup. I don't know. If he's gonna be playing 5 games or something, then he's easily worth like 20k. So yeah, this is a really good pickup too. All all these pickups from Menace Society are like really solid pickups. So yeah, good, you know, good drafting. Next I have Levision for 17. Oh, sorry, Levision 17 for 5K. I don't know who this is, but for min bid, you have nowhere to go but up. I look forward to seeing your games, but unfortunately I don't know you, so I'll have to skip over you. Charlie and Real MVP, again, kind of same thing, where I just don't know them. They're almost min bid. Obviously Charlie went for 8K, so someone was willing to up it on them, so I think they might be known by some of the other captains, but I don't know Charlie at all, so unfortunately I'll have to skip over them. I look forward to seeing their games, and the exact same thing for Real MP. I just don't know him, so I'll have to skip over them. But yeah, the final pickup is Simpleton. Now, I've seen a couple of his games. He's a fine player. I think he's about average. Again, for 9K, then this is totally fine. If he's able to get those 2 wins that are, you know, securing a weak win or something, then that's totally fine. And with that, we've come to the end of my player draft analysis for this season of the Pokemon World Series. Let me know if you think I'm the greatest player analyst of all time and I got everything right, or if I'm the worst player draft analyst of all time and I got everything wrong. Or, you know, just let me know what you agreed with and what you disagreed with. This was pretty fun to make, so hopefully it was also pretty fun to watch. And yeah, I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye!